Cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I haven't done a soft white underbelly in a long time, and there's a reason for it. And I'm gonna test that theory of mine right now. I'm gonna try another one. This one is called Drug Dealer Interview Big Heavy. I haven't seen any of it, but I want to see if I'm gonna be allowed to post this video. It was when I was doing the soft white underbellies, I was doing great, and then all of a sudden something happened, and I have a feeling I know what it was, but let's find out.
Good idea to check it out, but
are you familiar with my channel at all?
yeah, I've seen it. We ain't gonna talk about nothing soft though. I promise you that.
That's good. That's what I want.
Can I wear a mask?
No, I can't do mask.
Okay.
I don't do mask. That's Primo.
Mm-hmm.
Primo is a joint with a little bit of crack in it.
Crack in it.
That's how a lot of people get started on crack, right?
You know, my whole life I heard people tell me that I would be smoking a pipe soon. I mean, I'm 54. You know, when I was a kid, crack was king. And my uncles, they sold dope, heroin, cocaine. And when crack hit the scene...
Where is this?
New York. I'm from New York City.
Okay.
And when crack hit the scene, I got mentors. You know, they weren't family to me, but they treated me like family, and they taught me the business. I learned how to cook crack from a man.
Again, this one is called Drug Dealer Interview Big Heavy. He must have retired, right? Mark has talked about, I mean, he's interviewed a lot of cops. We know that cops monitor everything. So, you know, this dude has a Primo in his mouth. It looks like there's another one in his ear, or a Cocoa Puff. You got the front end twisted up. So, he doesn't look like he's very successful. And the fact that he's on camera, you know, when he said, "Can I wear a mask?" and Mark said no, he should have been like, okay, well, I got to bounce. So I doubt he's going to be very successful. But let's see what he's talking about.
And called Dr. Rock. You know what I mean? He used to be, he was one of them 70s pimps. And he had the different color leather purse, and he had the different color leather jacket and the sniper. And he really hated women, but he had a bunch of them. And inside that purse, he kept the Star Trek Enterprise. And he would put the rock right in the middle of the round part of the Enterprise, and the two things that came out were where you smoked at. So he'd stick his thumb in one side and hit out of it, but if the chicks made enough money, he'd let the chicks smoke out of the other side. He was my mentor. He showed me everything. He taught me how to cook crack. He had a buddy named Simon, and he was a black gorilla, and Sam taught me how to hide guns in the couch and, you know, have a man at the door and check what was going on before they...
Hey, Big Heavy, you know you're on camera, right, Big Dog? At this point, maybe he just gets high, right? I mean, he named dudes, and he named an organization, and said where the guns are, and didn't wash his pants before he got there. Chinga.
Came in the house and serve them and get them out real fast, you know. No hand-to-hand sales. They get the money to somebody else, you give them the dope. I managed to stay out of any kind of incarceration until I was like 39.
You've been in the dope game for a long time now.
Yeah. My uncles were cooking crack one day, and we were chopping it up on plates, and he rolled a blunt with some coke in it. And he said, "You know what this is?" But I was 12. I just want to be big as the big boys, you know? So I lied. I said, "Yeah, I know what it is. I have no idea." And he goes, "Well, light it." And I lit that shit, and top of my head got tight. My throat got numb. Top of my mouth got numb. I didn't know what the fuck that was. I couldn't feel my tongue. My ears were ringing. I was like, what the fuck is this? And he's like, pass it. I was like, I ain't passing shit till you tell me what this is. And he said, the shit you're cutting on the plate, that's what it is. And I was like, for real? He was like, yeah. Why you tell me? Why you think I tell you to give me all the crumbs when you're done? So that was the beginning of the end. I mean, I liked it and I still like it. It's my major malfunction. But I pay for it. I don't fucking rob nobody, steal nothing from nobody, none of that shit. But I hustle.
Has crack unraveled your life?
Has crack unraveled your life? Let's remember that's the question that was asked. But this reminds me, anytime I hear about Primos, it always reminds me of DMX. He's one of my favorite rappers. And that dude told me, he told a story. I was in the shoe and I saw it on BET. And they asked him about his drug use, and he said he was like a stick-up kid, right? He used to go do robberies, bust licks, whatever. And he said he was with his crimey. They went in, they busted a lick, and when they came back, his homie was like, hey, check this out. Boom, he rolled up. And what he didn't know is his homie rolled up a joint with some coke in it, some crack in it. And DMX said when he hit that, he was like, damn, what is this? And was hooked from that day on. So we know that DMX died young, and the dude was talented more than most. And just imagine had he not hit that weed, had he not got fucked up on that crack, you know. It's a trip, man. When I hear of anybody still messing with crack, you know, all these crazy drugs we hear about, and here's this guy right here.
Life like it does to a lot of the people down here?
Since I've been in LA, I've been okay. But yeah, I lost my life. I lost my life during COVID. I did. I had a chick that was on meth. She was a hooker, but the meth made her just want to fuck, whether she was getting paid or not. And she wasn't holding up her end of it, and I wasn't paying attention, and before I knew it, I lost everything. But you can't keep a good nigga down. You know, pretty soon I'll be signing the lease on my new crib, and I got my Social Security, and I'll be all right.
What brought you?
That's the power of addiction. So he's sitting there and he's smoking this shit. And he wants to get his shit together. He wants to get in this new pad and start over. And yet he's on camera. And who knows what the fuck he's going to talk about. I just trip out on stuff like that. You know, I don't get like... how much is he getting paid for this interview, and is it worth it? It's not. It's not worth whatever he's giving them. It's not worth what anybody gives you to exhibit your addiction for eternity. Because once anything's on YouTube, it's eternal. You're a vampire. You're never going to die. You're always there. And you would think that you would want it to be for something that you did good or a positive message you're going to give. And hopefully there's a positive message. But, you know, I see somebody saying like you can't keep a good man down. And yet you're putting yourself in a place where there's cameras and you're going to talk about illegal things. And you're engaging in certain shit where, you know, these things could all become a monkey wrench in your plans.
LA.
What do you mean?
Why'd you come to LA?
Because of her. She tried to kill me like 3 times. She fucked everybody I know and everybody on the fucking blade. Out in Arizona, we got a host called Van Buren. But famous pimps come to Van Buren and fucking pimp their hoes. And I had a dope spot on the blade. My grandpa had 2 hotels. So I was like, old school when I hit the bled. And I had just got out of prison, and she was one of my brother's girls. I stole her from him. I told him I was gonna come do something to his white girls and something nasty. And he told me, if you think you can, go ahead. But I could. I knew that. So I came back and I got her. And I thought that she was a good fit with me. But we were toxic together. She just wanted to bust nuts. And after she bust her nuts, she'd go off on her little missions. She made a lot of money, but I never saw a dime of it.
What was your childhood like?
I'm a twin. We came out breech.
Damn.
I came out first. My sister came out. Her feet was stuck to my head right here. That's why I got this spot. And we lived in Brooklyn, 40th and 5th. Nice little brownstone. We went to private school. My father was a gangster. My father was a rapper. My father was a pimp. And he...
All right, hold up, man. Hold up. Can I hit... I don't have that damn thing. Hold on, man. He's 54 years old, and his dad was a gangster. I give him that. Okay. A rapper? I'm 49 years old, and I was born before rap. Just barely. He's 54. So he was probably... He's 5 years older than me. He was probably 9 or 10 years old when Sugar Hill came out. At least 9. His pops is in the Sugar Hill gang, people. Let's see if he says that.
Didn't spend a lot of time, but he made sure we had everything we needed, you know, and he couldn't spend a lot of time. We'd go to see the Harlem Globetrotters, you know, and right after the fanfare, and we get all our snacks and stuff, and we sit down in our seats, and we were courtside. As soon as the lights went down and the show started, he'd lean over and say, I gotta go. Hand me a $100 bill so we could catch the cab back home to Brooklyn, and he'd take off. United Artists Theater, when Star Wars came out, we had so much shit from the snack bar. We had little tables in front of us. And we were sitting right in the front, you know, on the best spots in the theater. As soon as the lights went out,
Look, it's the best spots.
Was over, my father leaned over.
You gotta look up. You were sitting in front.
Give us money, take off. That was my experience of him. You know, he was a heroin addict, but he was a heroin dealer. He fixed in the morning, he fixed at night. Sometimes he messed around in the afternoon, but he wasn't one of them non-heroin addicts. He was a hype heroin. He'd get that shit in his system, and he'd start dancing around and shit. And he'd want to play dominoes and play poker, and you know what I mean? He made money. He was always about money. One thing he taught me was knowledge is power. What you don't know can hurt you. And in the 2000s, if you ain't got your game straight, you're gonna get fucked off.
Like doing this interview, player. You already talked about who owned what hotels and the Blade, what street. I mean, I'm sure people in the area know, but now people outside of the area know. I don't know how much more I'm going to do
that
this.
Work ethic, though. If it is to be, it's up to me. There ain't nobody else going to give it to me. I got to go get it.
If you had your life to live all over again, would you have done anything differently?
I don't know, man. I ain't going to lie to you. I think my life turned out the way it was supposed to.
Wow.
I think God wanted me to see things that I can't unsee, you know. And when I was 12...
Hold on, man. The devil wants you to see the things of his playground, not God. This is the thing that people do, man. You know, when I was caught up in my criminality, I did the same type of shit. It wasn't me. It was some outside unseen entity that caused me to do the things that I did. It was never me. It was the DA, it was the cops, everything else. But as you get older and you want to better yourself and find some kind of peace and happiness within your heart, you understand who's at fault. Who's the one that really made every decision for you. You know, once you got out of them diapers, you started making your own damn decisions. But to hear somebody say God wanted him to see the blade and the dope dealing and all that, no, he didn't. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna go on this because I don't want them to start saying more names and locations because, you know, I don't know.
My parents put me out because when I was 9, I wouldn't be a kid. They were Rough Riders. They had motorcycles and they would go on rallies to California. I got uncles in California that are East Bay Dragons. I got uncles in Arizona that are Chosen Few, you know. And I got uncles in Louisiana. I got uncles in Florida, you know. But they all deal drugs. I've been in 28 states, you know, and I was bred for this. I was born to this. It's part of who I am. But I can remember my parents being out of town, and me going to my uncle and saying I need money, and he'd give me, you know, $200, $300 for me and my sister, but he'd ask me how much.
Look it, man, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm pretty much done with this. 54 years old, man, hasn't smiled once, has he? He's talking about a life where maybe he smiled once, but let this be a lesson, man. 28 states he's been in, he said. He's you know, and I'm not this, you know, the Wes Watson type, but look at his shape, man. He's not taking care of his health. He's not taking care of his mind. He's not taking responsibility for himself. There ain't no fucking success stories in the streets. If you're in the streets right now, figure out how to get out of them. And believe me, busting one more lick, that one more lick ain't it. You know, fast money has a long tail, man. But that's my video for the day. Let's see if I can put this out. Hopefully I can. We'll find out in a minute. With that said, everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them. I'm out.